Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who joins me on these videos. As this year comes to a close, I do have a lot to think about. And one of my, at least the word that's popping in the most prominently right now in my life is simplify. And so I may use that in the coming year. It's just something I'm feeling right now. And maybe you're wondering, looking at my setup here, is this all I'm going to use next year? I don't think so. But I really wanted to talk about goal setting and how much pressure that can be. I watched quite a few videos about what other people are doing, and I think a lot of us can agree that we can find, or at least like agree in our hearts, that we will find something that works for us. And I've kind of been searching for that. I have used the Moxie Life goal setting system for a couple years now. I think I have 3. Yeah, there's 3 boxes up there. And I found that very helpful during those times. I do have to reflect now and think, like how far my life has come and changed in just a few short years. So let's see, it was probably, I'm trying to think when I got the first one. Was it 2019? No, it was like 2020. So we were just kind of entering the times at home times, the times that we had to spend a lot of time at home. And I think many of us went through a lot of reflection during that time. And so that goal system definitely was something that I could easily look at and go, wait, I need to start reflecting on how my life has gone, or how my year has gone, or how my week has gone. And that's what the key of that system is. It's like looking at even the small, like, time periods and still reflecting a bit. And it quickly became a habit of mine. And because, the layout was set up that way, that every week you thumb through, you have those reflection pages. And I used them. And I even used them when I moved into Sterling ink, my big A5 one. And it still was really important. That's why I kept doing it. But I realized that this year has been really intense with my health, and it was really important to, I guess, like right now, I have not looked back on those Moxie Life goals I set at the beginning of the year, and I'm not going to. I find that I have set goals at the beginning of the year, even before that, right? Like most planners do. So it's been many, many years that, I've set goals, and I don't think they've benefited me. I'm trying to think of a single year in the last 10 years that I'm so glad I made that goal at the beginning of the year. And as I'm reflecting on this year especially, and I know I've talked about it a bit, I'm about to have my 4th surgery. Like, that's a lot for 1 year. Some of them, like one, like I have Crohn's. I have, where's my list? I have, why is it not coming to me? I got a hysterectomy over the summer because of PCOS. That's what I'm trying to think of. I don't have any notes here, so I'm just kind of winging it. And I'm neurodivergent, and it's been a lot, as like a lot of like my senses have been overloaded through a lot of these experiences. And, it just has me thinking of like, how can I make goals, at least at this part of my life? I'm not saying, okay, maybe I should preface this a little bit. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just saying that I'm reflecting, and this may be something that might help you. And I love that people are putting a lot of prefaces on their kind of goal setting this time of year, of like new planners that they're looking at or whatever. That you don't have to be like them. I think that's beautiful, right? And so I will do the same. This is something that I was like, okay, I need to like show a whole goals video like a lot of other people. And I knew mine would be different, but I didn't expect this different. But something has been brewing for the last month or so, and it's just kind of bloomed today. And so that's why I'm sharing it. So, yeah, I'm not going to be setting goals, but I noticed with myself and with some of the clients that I work with, when they are overwhelmed and they're just trying to sort through their feelings and make decisions, that's kind of what brought me to this. Sometimes when we're very overwhelmed with things, it is hard to just make a singular decision. It's like, okay, I need more time to think about that. And again, if it's not time-based, if you have the time to make decisions, take that time. But I also think, we put off that decision, and then when we're kind of coming up on the deadline again to make a decision, we can still feel stuck. And I think, this is kind of evident in my last video about showing the 2 planners that I have. I tried to kind of let it sit and kind of feel what's right, because there's been some planners in my life that just feel right. Like I've talked about my health planner, the paper test one, that just kind of clicked for this next year. And then, having 2 planners and I still couldn't make a decision, I realized, I have to experience it more. So that's what I'm doing. Especially during January, I'm going to use both. I have no other way of making that decision because I need more information. And I think that happens to a lot of people. It's like we need some more information. We need certain criteria to make a decision. And that's kind of where goals and decisions kind of overlap. So I wanted to bring this out just because it has the first few pages. And I'm just using it to document some of the meals that we're having. It's really like, that's all I'm doing with this. But I wanted to kind of go over this beginning because the paper test ones don't really have as much of like this goal part at the beginning. And I think that's a little why I'm being drawn to it as well. But I know a lot of people are like, I don't know what to use these pages for. And that's what I wanted to kind of talk about. So last year in my undated, and I thought there was another one. Because I made up a N1, which is basically a standard traveler size. I had 2 layouts like this that I had access to. And one, I put in, and I think I've mentioned this, but if you're new to my channel and this is the first video you're seeing, I do want to kind of talk about it a little bit. I did kind of segment it and put like anything in the next year. So in this one, it would be 2025 would be in this column. Anything in 2023 kind of goes in this column. I just kind of ignore the top. And in these 6 columns here, arranged by, well, maybe I put it over one. Maybe this was the previous year, because I did put labels here, and I had like when I saw the dentist, when I saw, this was for my health one. And it really did help to go, okay, when was the last time I got x-rays at the dentist? When was the last time I went to the OBGYN? When did I go and, when was my PCP visit? When did I just have a checkup? That kind of thing. Had infusions all last year, and so it's every 8 weeks. I wanted to have that. So this is an idea for that. And I think possibly if this is overwhelming to you and you don't want to fill this up with goals, there's a lot of people filling this up with goals, and I'm like, go for it. Do your thing. Because I think it is really good to take big ideas and make them smaller. But I'm talking about from the point of view of, I don't want to do the big ideas, or I don't have any big ideas. And that's okay. That's okay. And so I see other people using trackers, like they'll split this into, like, there's 6 here, so you can split these in half. I saw this in the Sterling Ink group. And I'll put a little screenshot on right here of where I saw that, and who introduced it. This is not my idea. And they just put like 1, 2, 3, 4 of the months, and you can track things. Again, we can track a lot of things, right? I have a lot of trackers going on. You can just track like good things that are happening if you want. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's 8. I'm just thinking of like, could you cut those in half somehow, or I don't know, try to have, like, what made you feel good? What kind of... So the Moxie Life system itself, when you reflect, is like, what are your wins? What worked? What didn't work? What are your lessons? What are your adjustments for the next time? So you could even put that in here. I do still think reflection is really important. I like write a little blurb every night. The biggest reason why I do that is because I don't remember. Like, I honestly... My ADHD, the days run together. I would not remember much if I didn't write it down. And so if you happen, if that is important to you, I think there's a good amount of us in the planner community that do that. And it's not just memory keeping. It's more of like, I don't even know what I had for dinner last night. And it may be a health concern. And then there's those who memory plan, right? So like you could fill this up with memories. What I'm thinking is I'm going to put some things that have a theme. Like I'm not going to use these at the top. Have a theme of simplify. And I think I want to like record as the year progresses and just kind of fill this up with things that feel in alignment with that. Is that a goal? No, because I don't want to go, okay, I want to feel this many times this year. I want to have this required emotions. I want to have this amount of this. No. I want to notice when those things are happening, because it's so easy for me to dismiss like that the feeling that I'm craving and want is actually happening, and I don't even remember it. It's just how my brain works. It's very hard at being in the moment because my thoughts are so fast that I can be sitting there talking with someone and having a whole nother conversation with myself about other things. Again, just how my brain works. So I'm mainly going to be looking at these pages. So yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm doing with those. I do think it'd be wonderful to just have like this year of just something really cool. This is where I really wanted to get into it. I work better by the month, and you've seen me use this layout before. When I do my plan with me's, I do fill this out a bit, and I just do this. This is where I set goals. This is my kind of a goal, because I need constant flexibility. I can feel very guilty about not getting things done. I think there's a lot of societal pressures upon us that are like push as hard as you can, be as productive as you can, and even like Cindy of Llama Letters, let's see if I can say that, was kind of alluding to this. And I think that's what kind of helped click some of this into place, is like she was saying, why do I have to be a constant improvement? Why do I have to set goals to be constantly better? And that's exactly what I was trying to convey as one part of all this, is like, we don't have to assign numbers to what our feelings and I want to say motivations, but that can be a little tricky too, especially in the chronic ill community. Chronically ill. We can have so many motivations to want to change things. And it's a little cruel to apply goals and stuff to our lives. And we can be enforcing them upon ourselves. You know, like, I don't believe it's like the planner community is trying to get chronically ill people. No. What I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of chronically ill people in the planner community, and we're people have been around for a long time talking about this, but I do see more and more people speaking up about it and applying it to their planning practices, just more and more each year. I just see it kind of just being amplified each year. Because there's a lot of accessibility in this, because I can be having a very bad day and my face doesn't have to be on camera for this. I would love to do vlogs. I would love to do more face to the camera. And a lot of people would say, oh, just show up how you are. Yeah, I do plan on doing that as well. But I also think there's times where I don't want to be in front of the camera, and I don't think I need to be required to. No one's requiring me. This is my channel. I'll show up when I want to. But I think there's a lot about goals that can be ableist, that can be like, you have constant energy all the time. It very much, the more privileged you are, the more you talk about, oh, just do this, to do goals and get them done, right? And so I'm coming from the other side of that, of like, when you have limited energy, when you have a lot of doctor appointments, when you have a lot of procedures, that can make you be filled with anxiety. I mean, I've had 2 MRIs now, and the first one went horrible. I had a panic attack and had to get out and get back in. This last one, she helped so much and I got through it, but I still had so much anxiety leading up to it. And that is very common throughout a lot of procedures. You say, okay, do what you need to my body, but you are still very anxious about it all. And I have to say, I've been getting excellent care. I really have. And I feel more on top of everything right now than I did at the beginning of the year. It was not on my goals to have that done. That was not like, I mean, I wanted to get further. Like, I knew my Crohn's diagnosis going into the year because I was diagnosed last year. My PCOS, I was diagnosed like 10 years ago. But I don't know how my health will be this next year, so I can't make a goal out of it. All I can do is put things on here that will support me through a month at a time. Sometimes it's a week at a time. And that's, again, I don't have the weeklies in here, but that's where that's as much as I can plan ahead. Even though like I have doctor's visits 3 months from now, but I mean, in terms of like, what do I want to have done? What is my agency in making my decisions and seeing what I pursue, and then what are the things I have to do? And there can be a lot of fear in medical, like being even seen medically, to see what's going on, or it's like I don't want to know, so you hide away. I know, I've been there. And there can be so much dismissiveness from doctors, even well-intentioned ones. I had one recently that he was doing everything. He still was treating me very well, ordered so many tests because some of my numbers look like, is something really bad happening? And my goodness, I feel so much better now that we've checked it out. But still, he wasn't able to even address all of the turmoil and anxiety and medical necessities that I had around my hysterectomy, because he doesn't know what it's like to have a uterus. He just doesn't. And now I don't have one. But so even well-intentioned, and I've had a lot of well-intentioned caregivers, practitioners. And so I know I'm kind of ranting. I'm kind of going around things. Setting goals is not going to be a priority for me this year. I definitely am not going to push myself that hard like I did last year. And so in here, I think, focusing on a quarter. And so I'm just going to kind of step through this because I haven't put a single word on a page for any of like what things are going to happen in 2024 other than like a couple appointments coming up in my other planner. That's all I've done. And I realized like this last week or so, I have been kind of planning ahead, and I am kind of reluctant to let this year go. And that's a little because insurance wise, I don't want to see the end of the year end, because that means all the deductibles reset and stuff like that. And everyone's going through that. But I did want to write down a little bit to kind of show you what I'm talking about, because this might help you. This might. So what I was thinking was, I want to write just a little bit. You can call these systems, you can call them guides, you can call them rules, whatever. When I'm having a hard time, I want to be able to look at this and remember what is important. And I have a lot of bad days. There are many days that it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to take my kid to school. It's hard to really support him through a lot of, because he needs a lot of support sometimes. I want to put something down here, and maybe I transfer it to somehow putting it here, because maybe it is more appropriate here. Like, I don't know about someday, but like thinking about, I'm just kind of winging this, as I said. Maybe it is more important here. Okay, let's start here, because I have other pages like this. This is, as I said, kind of a draft. So I'm going to say, when I am tired. I dotted 2 I's. When I am tired, what can I do during the year, during the half year? I could just write like long sentences here. It's more about like, in the day, what could I do during the day when I'm tired? I think definitely resting my eyes more. If you want to call that a nap. For me, it's having a little laugh about something. And so it does mean looking at memes or something on the internet. I need points of laughter to keep going. And I think a lot of people do. That's why memes are so popular. Weekly, I could ask for help. I could delegate. That's like, I could ask for help for all these things. But just ask someone else in my household if they can help with something. Monthly, I think I might ask my mom to do more pickups or somebody to do more pickups. So this is more like delegating, like, hey, could you run a load of laundry or something? But like monthly, sometimes there's other people involved. And so I kind of want to backtrack a little bit and say, like, someone else do pickups. And that's a privilege. That's a privilege that I have. So I don't want to go through these and be like, oh, you can just do these two. No, like, I understand there were times where I had no one else to do pickups. I get it. I am setting up more people to be able to do those. And I don't have to fill out anything else. I think it's very tempting, excuse me, to want to fill out every single square. But, and maybe I will a little bit more. I don't think someday is quite a thing. Taking a week off, maybe someday. I would say, for like 1 year. Take a weekend at hotel, motel, whatever. Or sometimes I house sit, and that's my kind of weekend. It's just those days where you're away from all your responsibilities just for a couple days. Again, total privilege. But I could sleep. I can just relax. I can, between my treatments, just go, I just need this. I just need this. So another one is when I am anxious. And I guess that's part of memes too. Maybe I should put that down here. I was kind of coinciding, rest is kind of like, yeah, I think memes is better here. Weekly is watch a funny show. It really helps a whole lot. I might fill in more of those. Let's see. When I am overwhelmed. So these kind of things they're kind of systems, they're kind of coping mechanisms, but also it's more pertinent to being overwhelmed is, how do you make a decision when you're overwhelmed? What is the best thing for you in making a decision? So if it's something that within the week I need to make a decision about, research. There. Sometimes my R's and my C's get combined. When I have more information, I feel like I can make a better decision. When I talk to someone, so maybe I stumble across something that no one else kind of knows about, or my doctor told me, but I haven't told anybody yet. Maybe that's under monthly. Yeah, because how about talk to family or friend? Is that a system? Or is that something that I can look here and go, you know what? This is what I'm feeling. Overwhelmed. And I'm so overwhelmed, I don't even know what my options are to get through this. So research. Talk to a friend. Overwhelmed is like, oh, I'd love to do just sleep on it for a night. Just say I'm not making that decision today, but I can tomorrow. I think that works really well for myself. So I'm just going to say sleep on it. And you can call it whatever you want. Sleep test, the whole do I feel different in the morning? Because my emotions can be driving my decisions instead of making a thoughtful decision. What else? When I'm feeling sick, I think that's a little different than tired to me. It's more like is tired and low energy the same? I think so. Let's see. So I'm going to say low energy here. Because I think that's pretty similar. And I would do these things if I'm low energy. There's something else here, though. I'm going to say when I'm feeling lower energy, like a medium day that I'm struggling a little bit. I'm going to say when I'm struggling. And to me, again, these words, struggling might mean something more along these lines of I can't do anything else. I need someone to step in. So use that word for yourself. But for me, struggling means I'm trying. And I need to not push myself, but get through something. I can recognize when it's not the time to make the decision, or it's time to rest my eyes. It's time to ask somebody else to do it. When I'm struggling daily, I push things off my list is my first thing that I do on the daily. To tomorrow. I'll say that. When I'm struggling weekly, I designate a whole day where I'm not working. So I'll say day off of work. See how that's different than up here. This is physically tired. This is, maybe it's more mentally tired. Maybe that's overwhelmed. Whatever works for you. These definitions, I think words have different meanings and connotations. It can be words that you used, in your family growing up. This is one word I absolutely hate, and we don't use it here in our house, is the word lazy. I will not say that word because I don't believe in it. I do believe we have every reason when we can't do something. And it's not due to lack of motivation. And lack of motivation, meaning you feel too sick to do something, is not being lazy. You can really want to do something, and there are mental blocks that get in your way. There are things that it can be a very big thing. Again, I have surgery in 2 days here. A couple of years ago, that would freak me out. I would be frozen solid. Again, fourth one this year. I'm I'm going to have a good nap time. So I have worked through that block because I've had experience with it. And many times when I feel frozen, I just haven't had enough experience with something. There can be this like need to be perfect, and I kind of want to put that down. So like when I feel I need to be perfect, what can I do? What can I do? As a daily thing, make a mistake. That's one small thing. Make a mistake on purpose. And I mean like the smallest little thing. It can kind of just break us out of that rumination. Sometimes that works for me. Sometimes I need to see examples of other people. So that's more on a weekly. I'm going to say watch examples. Because usually on YouTube, if I see somebody doing something that I want to do, but they're showing all their mistakes and they're showing all their thought processes, I hope a little bit of this video is kind of doing that. As you can see, like this is muddy and messy. I may rewrite this into my main journal, main planner coming up to make a little bit more sense, but I had to have something imperfect to go off of. I had to like experience it. I have to experience using this before I can like make an iteration. So in the design world, like I've been designing most of my life. I went to art school and graphic design, web design, brands and all that, logos and everything. You have to put about like a bunch of messy things so you can actually make one better. You don't just run out of the gate perfect. And with being neurodivergent, especially in our family, many people in my family, especially my close family here, we want to be as good as we can be on the first try. It's something, And I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to mess something up. But again, like if I didn't have this, I would make a copy of it. And I would start like messing the copy up first. Because I do want a really nice version to use. I think when a lot of care is put in and, not perfected, but iterated upon, we can use that as a tool and be inspired by it. But that doesn't mean it's a goal, right? Doesn't mean it's a goal. What could I do on a monthly? I'm thinking, I've tried this all year and this is feeling a little like a goal, which is why I'm like, I don't know. Let me write this down, see how it feels tomorrow, and I will see. One is show up on camera. And I mean that like front facing. I would love to do that more because I love when people show up exactly how they are and say, this is my life right now. I did do some sit down videos. Was that last year? It probably was beginning of this year, last year. I don't remember when. Again, if I'm not looking at a planner that showed me when I did it, I have no idea. But if I did that in a messy way, I would have experience to iterate upon, to make a design revision, to make a revision of any kind, because you gain so much information by that experience. Can I think of one more thing, or it's my completionist. I want to like complete it down here, not to fill these in, but just like, oh, there's an opportunity to write one more thing here. These are some of my big ones. I mean, feeling tired, low energy, anxious, overwhelmed, struggling. I think struggling just mentally. I just want to put mentally. Because that to me is a little different. Sometimes your body and your mind are out of sync with what you can go into the day with. And that's another really big thing about chronic illness is that, and maybe this is something I can put here. Let me talk a little bit aloud. We can make plans for the week. You've seen me on a plan with me for the whole entire week. I can put these things in. There is an absolute reason why I use erasable pen, because those things constantly change. I used pencil before, but it didn't show up on the camera as well. And so I would prefer not to erase and have little dents in my weeks, but they're just full of them. Because I think a lot of us, plans just change. But especially with those who are chronically ill, you can wake up the next morning and have a really bad start to the whole day and throw everything off. Kids can do that too. Someone, can fall sick in your household and you just have to cancel your plans. All those times when you have to radically change your plans. And it can happen a little bit more often than you ever intend to. But it happens. And so this is why I'm putting this together is when I'm having that tiredness, when I'm anxious, overwhelmed, mental cloudiness, there was a while there that some foods that I was eating would make me so foggy and achy all over. And I'd have to spend half the day in bed, at least half the day. Or my cycles would. My cramps were just so bad. I would have to take pills where I couldn't think clearly. And I'm like, wow, I went to work sometimes that way. And I had to go to school sometimes. And most times, I could stay out of school. But, high school or something. But, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So, I think when plans have to change is and maybe I'll reword that a little bit, but just thinking more along the lines of someone's sick, someone has to be taken care of. There's a mild emergency or there's a big emergency. Just something really, where it shifts everything. So I start communicating. Communicating. Because that's one of the key things. When it's a little bit external, where it's not, I'm feeling these things, but it's something else. I need to start communicating. I need to tell my husband, look, our kid's sick, or call the school, or if there was an appointment that day, I need to go and cancel it, or, reschedule it. So the very first thing, instead of becoming overwhelmed and going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And we're super anxious, I need to start communicating, just telling people and doing certain things, to shift whatever plans are necessary. Rescheduling would be the weekly. And then for monthly, because if there's one day that's thrown off, it's I'm doing more than just rescheduling. I have to play catch up. So making up, if it's homework for my kid, it takes about a month. Because usually it's multiple days, right? The last time he was sick, I think he was sick for 2 days, and yeah, it took him a couple weeks. There was one week this year already, he was out for a full week, and it took him almost a month and a half to catch back up. But that can happen to us too, right? So I'm looking mainly at this end. Could I write all these and put them right here, and so they only take up half a page? Yes. And maybe that's what I do as well, and have something else over here. I could do a whole thing over here of when things are going right. I kind of like that idea, but I'm not going to do it quite on camera. If I do it, And I think I might. I will show you when I do, when I introduce my new setup. So, or at least, in the next couple weeks, I think it'd be really cool. Yeah. To say like, these are all the things that can go wrong. And I think a lot of planning is kind of thinking ahead, going, oh, well, this could possibly happen. We could miss an appointment. Someone could get sick. I could have a really bad day. But what do I do when things are going right? So I could say when I have extra energy, and let's just pretend this is daily, do one thing that takes physical work. If my body is physically higher, like if you look in my health journal, I track like higher energy and lower energy. And so I would definitely put, for daily, just do one extra thing, because that's going to help me if I'm having a bad day tomorrow. And those are just gifts I give myself, right? Or if I can delegate it to somebody and make my day easier tomorrow. I actually kind of like that, because I don't see how someday, 1 year or half year is going to help me in this case. But I do like this kind of daily, weekly, monthly, because then I go here and it's really just organized by month. And that's the other key thing that I was going to write here. So say in January, my biggest question here is, what do I want to put behind me in January? What is something that I need to have in the rearview mirror? For me, and it's already scheduled, I have a new PCP, new primary care provider, brand new. But I need all the notes done before I go in there. That is like a key pivotal thing. I'm going to be starting a new drug prescription. I'll just call it a script. Instead of my infusions, I'm going to use a different drug. And so to get that initially started and see how the very first week of that goes, usually these type of drugs, they're a biological drug. It hits you a couple days later. For me, I had a lot of stress over the actual infusion itself. I'm not great with needles. I've had to become great with needles. Now I'm going to be giving myself an injection. I think once every 8 weeks, I think I can handle it, but I don't know how this drug is going to make me feel yet. But I want that initial part of it to be behind me. And the first one, they sit with you and see if you're allergic to anything and whatever. But I can be pretty anxious about that. And so as that time comes up, what could I do when I'm feeling anxious? Watch a funny show, watch some memes before this happens. That's not a goal. That's a strategy. And you can call it a system too. But to me, it's a bit more of a strategy of how can I make really good decisions. I don't want to cancel any of these things. I don't want to be afraid to go to these things. I'm going to feel anxious, but I don't want to get it to the point where I'm like, oh no, I'm just going to cancel and I'm not going to tend to my health. Or maybe there's a therapy appointment that's really critical to talk things out. Oh, but I'm too scared of it. I'm just going to cancel it. Like, that happens. Those are real feelings. You don't want to confront them. They're big and heavy, and it can be natural to go, no, I don't want to do that. But these, like, how can I look here? Because there could be one in here that's like fear. Like, I have a fear of something. What do I do when I have fear? And that can be totally different. That can be like meditation and like really putting your mind and body more at ease so that you can handle something a little larger to the best of your ability, right? Like, I can't change where my body is at right now with chronic illnesses. They're always going to be there. So there's a whole acceptance around that too. I think you can struggle for a very long time to accept that this is happening to you. It can be years. It can, like, I had a lot of denial about Crohn's. I had a lot of like, no, I have these other things going on. Is that really what's happening? I have to accept it and I have to treat it. What else do I want to see in the rear view mirror? I think I'm just going to keep it that simple because I know these are the number one things. I'm not sure what I'll put here. I mean, you could kind of map your coping skills and then write a word for each day about like what popped up. Maybe I put here about feeling anxious. Hey, why don't I write this down? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My eyes jump around when I'm counting things, so sometimes it's a little hard. I'm going to say low energy here. And then I'll put anxious. I'm skipping a line. Actually, no, I want to do fun things too. Okay. I won't skip a line, but I do want to have these in order so that I can kind of look between them. Because I do actually want to go back and put, so anxious, overwhelmed, so I think I'll just like check off when those are happening. I don't know. This is the other thing. If you don't want to be reminded about how often kind of bad feelings are happening, don't track them. Unless you are concerned about depression or something that could coincide with a chronic illness, maybe a medication you're taking is making you feel a lot lower. There are definitely reasons to do that. But if you aren't, and seeing data that shows you're feeling kind of badly hurts you, then don't do it. Don't do it. So I use the word struggling, but I to me, for some reason, it's clicking as like mental. Perfectionism. I didn't do that right. Again, this is my dyslexia. Let's see if it'll dry. Let it dry for a moment there. So that'll be perfectionism, and then plans change. Perfect. I guess I just need to change this to a C. And again, I would love to like write that a little smaller. There are times when I do write smaller, and that's more when I'm calm. I'm not overly anxious making this video, but I'm like, usually I write bigger when I'm, doing a video. But like some of the positive things that I did not write there. So like higher energy. So instead of low energy, like high energy. I mean, I don't want it to be a health tracker though, right? Like I'm tracking low and high over in my other one, but I think flexibility is going to be one of them. And those days when you have more ability, when you notice that you're more flexible about things, that you can be more adaptable, have people give you information and you not just freeze, fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn, that you have like this like time that you can kind of go, oh, that's a new way of looking at things, even though that might be a little bit of bad information. Maybe a recovery day of like, I don't want to say, you have to be a little careful about that. So, you could say resilience of like you're kind of popping back from it. But to me, that's like coming back into high energy, flexibility, being able to care for someone else. I'm going to say care for others, because I know myself that if I'm caring for others, I'm probably in a much better spot, right? Sometimes you're just kind of forced to as a parent. You're just like, okay, they're, sick for the day. I'm not feeling the best, but I can kind of step up and do this today for them. And then tomorrow, maybe I take a little bit more time to myself. Yeah, I'm just thinking like, so these are the good ones here. I just kind of want to put a line there just to see them. But yeah, it's kind of the opposite of what these are here. So like high energy, anxious, I guess just calm. If you're having more calm days. Yeah, I wish I kind of had 2 more. But maybe I'll just do 5 and 5 if things are feeling that way. Again, this is my first iteration, my rough draft, and I kind of just want to see things. And I will say right now, as I kind of wrap up this video, this feels so much better than putting in goals that I think I should do and I don't do them. Because this means that, say, this year, at the end of, 2024, at the end of 2024, say I actually complete 100 videos or something. I don't want a number that I'm striving towards. I can look at my numbers and go, oh, I did 40 videos this year. Maybe I'll do 45. Like I can play with those numbers on a daily basis or weekly or monthly. But I don't, and I have, my typical schedule here is I publish on a Sunday, but I'm trying to put, extra ones in. But if I do 100 and I have off weeks, sure, I can look at it as like an average for the whole year of like, okay, during December, I can do 3 or 4 a week to catch up. Like, again, these will still work with whatever I achieve this year. And I don't have to say I failed any of these. I do think, as I said, like iterations, drafts, compost. Sometimes I call a lot of these compost, where you're like putting something out there so that it can nurture what the next thing is. But I don't want to say I want to be less anxious this year, because I just know I will. I can't have that not happen. I can't say I won't be, strive to be not overwhelmed this year. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, but I want to be reminded, because I forget what kind of strategies and tactics I can do when these things happen, because I just forget these. Now, you could just be like, I don't need to write any of these down. I know what can help me. And maybe you just need to like track them just to see how often you're using them. And maybe your brain can hold all that information and you can use this for something totally different. My brain just cannot hold that information. That's where I'm coming from. That I just need reminders. Now I'm in my mid-40s. I'm a mom. I have many chronic illnesses. I'm neurodivergent. This is the tool set I have. But to me, this is a huge tool set. I can also like make a, not a storyboard, but a vision board that can remind me, like, to research, to rest my eyes, find a picture of somebody resting their eyes. I would love to do that, because I think that reminds me of things that I can do instead of achieve. What can I do to make a better decision? What can I do to feel supported? Ask for help. Set up warn people like, hey, I think I need an extra somebody picking up my kid or taking them to school just once a month. That kind of thing. So I hope that helps. And as you know, this goes on, and then you have the monthly. I also just want to make one more comment. I don't know why there's a dot there. If you have not gotten a Sterling ink book and you're like, I can't quite afford the big one, you can get a booklet. I think these are like $12 to $15 to $16, $12 to $16, somewhere around there. I bought 2 different sizes, so I don't know the exact cost. I don't end up using the dailies at all. And if you just want like simple, here's a month, here's some goals, I could not recommend these enough. If you're on a total budget, I know she has to charge shipping for under $35, but what you get, those and some stickers, and you might be set. You don't have to buy like the really expensive ones. I just want to make that comment because these little booklets pack a punch. Anyway, I hope that helps. I would love, 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 love to hear from you down below about, are you setting goals? Do goals like really help you? And if they do, I clap and applaud anyone who is using things and tools to help themselves. As long as you aren't like looking back at the year and going, oh my gosh, how wrong was I? I think you can have a very healthy reflection of like going, oh, I didn't achieve that, and I'm okay with that. Like, that's healthy. Healthy quotes. I guess healthy is not like the best term, because that's so relative per person. But like, that can be a really good way of navigating, of like going, okay, I wrote these words at the beginning of the year. I changed so much as a person. I guess that's my last bit here, is like the goals I write at the beginning of the year, I just find they're never relevant at the end of the year. At the beginning, I'm like, this is how I feel. The end of the year, those things don't matter to me anymore. I picked up, things I wanted to do along the way and shed those so quickly that didn't apply to me. I'm such an evolving person. I think most people are changing people. That's another huge reason why I just saw finally, after like 5 years in a row of looking at my goals, going, I love to track. I love to color code. And there's one more part of that. I'd love to see like how I can organize my life. But I'm more like, do appointments overlap? Do I need more time to do one thing or another? That's my more functional planning. I also think, again, all opinions are my own, that when I'm restricted to certain categories and certain things, like just using the Moxie Life ones this last few years, I never used the spiritual one once very often. I wanted to call it something else. So I'm playing around with that. Like, can I color code these in some kind of way? Because I like to color code just to kind of see. Like, to me, it makes more sense because right now I just see black and white and I don't know what has priority. But I kind of want to come up with my own categories after using that. So I think it's a beautiful system to start off with. It's a really open and welcoming system, and it helps you practice. But I feel like my training wheels are off and I'm going in a different direction. And I want to make categories for myself. Again, it's been 3-4 years, about 3 years using that system. So like what kind of color coding can I use? And I think it's only going to be like 3 or 5 categories. Like it's not going to be nearly as many. And I think like environment for me matters a whole lot just because of my physical senses, and I make little nests wherever I go, and having things organized around me brings me a lot of calm. That's a coping thing. I could put that in here of like, go organize something. If I have extra energy, it's going to help me the next day when I'm like, oh, that's organized. I know where things are. That would definitely be something I want to put in here. So, new categories, new system, no goals. That's me, 2024. And my word or guiding word right now being simplify. I might come up with a word that's kind of similar, but might be a little bit more descriptive, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Let me know if this sparks any ideas for you, if this or if little parts helped you. Because I think someone could listen to just part of this and go in a whole other direction that would help them or just add to what they're doing. I think that's what this whole community is. So thank you everyone for listening to all of this. Like and subscribe on your way out. And I'd love to hear from you. I love every single comment. Please comment down below. Take care everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye.